Hey, what's up, gangsters, vigilantes, and villains, and welcome to a Nerdy Bunch weekly review for The Penguin. And joining me because I'm holding him hostage at gunpoint is my co-host, Andrew. What's up, Andrew?
What's up, David?
You're here because you want to be, right?
Of
Right?
course.
Right?
I'm blinking twice for those who can't see.
We're here to talk episode 3 of The Penguin, titled Bliss. The synopsis is as follows. Oz and Sophia must address the skeletons in their closet as they attempt to control the future of Gotham's drug trade, while Victor is torn between his new life and what remains of his old one. Dun dun dun. This episode is full of tough decisions, people making moves, and deals being made and broken. But before we get into all of that, Andrew, spoiler-free thoughts. Go.
Enjoy this more than last episode. That's a good testament to this episode. I feel like it had a lot packed in, right? When you sit back and peel through all they dropped, there was a lot. We had past, we had present, we had future almost. But they're slowly starting to peel back all the layers, and I think they're doing a good job of that. The tension is rising. It's just like, yeah, you're seeing people's true colors starting to come out. But in just such a conniving way. I'm also being reminded continuously that, again, these aren't good guys.
Nope.
Which is great, right? You don't want to. I don't think they're trying to confuse us, right? I literally can't wait for the next episode. Based off how it ended, I was like, yeah, come on. All right, what happens now, right? Clearly, we're in it now, David. We're in it now.
No, it is. This episode, if you're breaking the narrative into acts, this feels like, all right, end of act 1.
Yeah.
Now, now we're in it.
You've met all the characters.
Right. And actually, it's funny you say that because, you say a lot happens in this episode. I say it's not so much a lot happens, but it feels like the different narrative threads are coming together. So it doesn't feel, because we have different storylines happening, and we start to see how they all sort of connect and come together. We see relationship dynamics between characters. We see character motivations, why certain characters are doing certain things. What I like about this show is that the ball keeps rolling forward.
Yeah.
It doesn't stall. We're only at episode 3, but we've seen so much has happened. Yeah. And this episode also does a great job of reminding us that all of this is set within the context of a villain winning. From the Batman movie.
The Riddler's victory.
Riddler's victory. This is, again, we spoke about it last week, that it's very rare we get a narrative that's based on what happens after the villain, quote unquote, wins.
Yeah.
Right. This is what happens next. And we're seeing that. And we see that from a different perspective that we're used to seeing in these narratives, which gives it a lot more impact.
It's like, damn, you mean Gotham could be worse? All right, Batman. I see your point now, bro. I see why you fight so hard.
He's like, what? And like you said, constant reminders that this is not a story about empathy for the Penguin. No, this is not like the Joker movie. This is the Penguin being reminded that this guy we probably haven't seen the worst thing he can do.
Oh no, definitely not. I'm excited. Like they're telling us that he sucks and it's gonna be clear.
All right, let's get into spoilers.
Let's spoil it.
This opening scene threw me off because it doesn't say flashback.
Yeah. So it was one of those, literally, I was like, am I watching the right episode? Like, how am I seeing Vic?
What's going on? And why does Vic... I thought his family was dead. Was that a lie? Was he faking everybody out? Is this some elaborate plot that he's going on? And I was like, I thought Crown Point was like a shit show. Because it doesn't look amazing, but it doesn't look like a shit show.
Okay.
It looks okay.
It's honest work, like his dad said. I mean,
what? Because after last week's episode, he's getting texts from Graciela, and then he meets her first. So I'm thinking this happens right after.
Yeah.
But then we realize slowly that this is flashback. This is the same day as the end of the Batman. And 2 things I loved before I get to what you thought. One, I love that this sets us up from the very beginning, before he even gets involved in this kind of the mobster's world. Vic already had this feeling of, I want a better life than my parents have.
Yeah.
That was already there. This didn't come after. He was already there. He was, having conflict with his dad when he's telling his dad, you should ask for more money. The dad's like, I came from less. What I have now is more. Yeah.
Vic is like, okay. but
And then on the rooftop, seeing, oh my god, seeing the explosions
That
of the
POV was
levees.
different.
Again, in the movie, we saw that same thing, but we see it from
Higher
a
up,
bird's
right?
eye view.
Yeah.
So everything seems insignificant, right, and
Hmm.
small. Whereas when you see it from the street level, especially the people who don't really have money, people who are affected, oh my god, that was just done so well. What did you think of that whole flashback?
This the scene was excellent, right? Like from the water breaking the bridge to him, seeing his house, and then to him like trying to call his
Oh,
mom, and then just
oh.
seeing the force of the water going in through the window, and you just knowing that those people are dead. Like it's not funny, but like it's basically no chance, right? Like water
Hmm.
can be as bad as fire when it comes to destruction, if not
Hmm.
worse in some cases. So that was crazy because like you touched on a couple of minutes ago, it's so nice to see the opposite side. We know Batman's up there somewhere in
Hmm.
some
Hmm.
some skyscraper, but like this is what's happening on the ground, right? This is why it's so terrible for people like the Riddler to have their plans come to fruition, right? It's not just like, oh, I don't want like it's everything is messed up.
Hmm.
Like these are people dying. Like what? So, and I think even the fact that it answered for me that Graciela was with him, just a little thing to
Hmm.
we're wondering who she was at first, so it made sense, right? Like they were the survivors
Hmm.
of this, I think, and then the drug dealers as well. I can't remember
Hmm.
his name, his cousin's cousin,
Which
whatever.
I think I'm sure we're going to see him again.
Yeah, oh, 100%. I don't think this doesn't feel like a show. I'm not giving them too much credit, but this very much feels like a show where everybody you've met, you're going to see how they connect, at least to some
Hmm.
degree, right? It's not.
Hmm.
It's like it is a portion of Gotham, right? It's seeing like a microscopic view of what happens when the city is going to shit. Falcone and others are just struggling with their entire empires, kind of coming undone. And anyway, just to close on Victor, right, and his story, I just thought it was great for me in grounding him a little bit because we just see him in the first episode when he's trying to steal Penguin's car, right, or mess with his
The
car,
hubcaps.
steal the hubcap. But you don't really know, like, okay, what was he like before that? Was he a good kid? Was he
Hmm.
a bad kid? Like, what is he about? So I think the scene with his dad, like you said, just showing that he's always been kind of aspiring for more. He wasn't really happy with his circumstances, but like what's going through his brain, right? He must be thinking, damn, that could have been me. Like if he stayed
Hmm.
home, he'd be dead. And now he isn't, and like his entire family is gone, right?
Hmm.
So that was amazing. But the one thing I have to say, so I don't forget, is he sucks for not just telling Graciela to leave alone.
I mean, when he invited her to the house, to the apartment, I'm like, what are you
No,
doing, man?
literally. Penguin was like,
Like,
if you do anything wrong, I'll sense it. He was like, okay, boss. He closes the door. Hey, like,
hey,
like
come over.
I want to come over to
Like,
this dangerous place where people get murdered.
right, the one precaution he does is like, whoa, 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 coaster, please. That's the one
like,
precaution.
like of all the things, but hey, I guess respect, right? Respect your boss's house.
but
But yeah,
but I think but I think that's a moment also to kind of that reflects on his age,
yeah, he's a kid, right?
because you're young and in love, you do stupid things,
Yeah,
and that's
I
where he's at.
mean, yeah, like, and it's like free house, like what, like
Woo!
nice,
Yeah.
nice house too. So anyway, yeah, I like, I, he should just have told her, just go, leave
Yes.
me. I'm happy
Yes.
she got some money though. I'm assuming all that money covered her ticket and some
Right.
change, so it was worth.
Right.
But I just felt sad watching him watch her leave, and it's like no, it felt like the OC or something.
Well,
But yeah,
let's stick to Vic, because I think this is
Vic,
very
yeah,
much a Vic centric episode. And if there's like if you look back on the season, you're like, okay, what was the episode that had his turn? I
define.
think this is the episode,
Mm-hmm,
right? Because through her, and what I liked about this episode, because at first I was concerned once you brought in Graciela, I was
mm-hmm,
like, oh, he's gonna go into some melodrama
yeah,
stuff, and then she's gonna end because of his relationship with her. That's gonna end up causing his further issues down the road because blah 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 blah. But no, I think this episode was just with her coming in. It was just purely to make him make a choice.
mm-hmm,
Do I leave with her or do I go down this rabbit hole with him?
mm-hmm.
And I think that's what her role is. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't really see her again this season.
I don't expect to, honestly.
exactly. And I like that because again, this is that turning point of him making that decision. Sitting in that car. Do I go with her or do I go down this rabbit hole that I've opened?
And he's
And
gonna regret, man. He's gonna
of
regret.
course, of course. I mean, his dad warned him. She warned him. But he's also at a point where he's lost everything, and people that he's seen, like his dad, when he talks to Penguin in the restaurant, saying, my dad loved food and the culinary arts, but he
Hmm.
never got to sit in a
To
restaurant like
eat,
this,
yeah, and eat, all these fancy things.
right? So from his perspective, which is all fueled on by Oz, you know, going the right path and doing the right thing, what the hell does that mean,
Like, what is that? I love that scene with him and Oz in the bathroom, right? That's the
right?
speech from Oz.
So good,
Like, he was like, "Oh, my dad
so
wouldn't be proud." Oz was like, "Shut up, shut
good.
up! It's a shame to die poor."
Right,
That's
right,
basically what Oz said, and I was like, "Yeah, I
right.
mean, you
and
know,
and and let's go to that scene. He worries about leaving Oz and feeling that if I can't leave this life because I've seen
hmm
too much.
yeah,
And Oz does a fantastic job, especially this episode, of 1 minute showcasing some level of like
almost emotion."
emotion and
Yeah,
empathy, and I'm like, oh man, I feel so sorry for you, Carl. And then you
yeah,
realize, he's manipulating me, that
yeah,
bastard.
yeah, exactly. 'Cause
Because I
a
felt
couple
sorry for
times.
when
Hmm.
Oz was just like, wait, you see me as your you see me as a
This
prisoner.
how
I
you
mean,
see
you're a
me?
prisoner.
This how you
This
see
is how you
me?
see me with a gun to his
like,
face.
like,
This is how you feel.
I love
Like
that scene.
Oz genuinely felt hurt,
Yeah.
right? But at the same time, yeah, you are holding a gun to his face, of course.
Like, no, not just that, because you're right, because I feel bad for him. And then, wait, last episode, you put this kid in a grave.
Right,
You literally,
right.
like, lay down there. So, yeah, maybe he does feel that way, and that's accurate.
You almost felt like you felt insulted. It's like, you thought you can go anytime you want. You thought
Yeah.
it's like, well, we never had that conversation, sir,
Hmm.
because you literally said, I'm taking your ID, I own you now, blah blah blah. Now you're like, you can
Yeah.
just leave anytime you want,
Like, it doesn't
and
insinuate you can leave whenever. I mean, I
not
thought
at
so at
all,
first, but no. It's
not at all, or
definitely not.
even again the continued narrative of Oz teaching him that in this life you've got to be able to pivot. You
Think
got to be
quick.
able to be quick thinking. You're not maybe not a big planner, but you got to be able to like when situation circumstances happen, which they always will. You got to be able to think quick on your feet. And this episode, Vic gets two moments where he has to be
Hmm.
like that.
Hmm.
One to a lesser degree when he has to spend alone time with Sophia, which I thought was
Hmm.
interesting. Is like
Yes.
just it's like, but she's the hangman. I can't.
Yeah. Which I don't think she is. We'll get to.
Well, we've
I've,
spoken about that as well last
yes,
week's episode, but
I've concluded even further.
well, yeah, we'll go into that. But I did like how in that scene, again, this episode, this show also kind of plays around with social disparity, right?
A
And
lot.
and like man's treasure and man's trash and all that stuff.
Hmm.
When Sophia walks in, she's like, "Oh, tacky." But
Yeah.
later on, when Graciella's there with, she's like, "This place is
It's
amazing."
amazing. No, I love how it's like, Vic, Oz, and then Sophia, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a very clear pecking order.
Mhm. And then also where was it? With the police officer. Our first view of Gotham PD police officer pulling Vic over.
Whoop
I
whoop.
was like, oh shit, what's going
Yeah,
to happen? What's Vic going to do? This
he
show does a
played
great
that
job of
well.
building the tension, like you said,
Yeah,
because it's showing us all the drug vials in the bag in the car.
yeah,
You're like, what's going to
yeah.
happen?
Like, literally, I was freaking out. I was like, "Officer, just don't look." And that's just to touch on that point you made again, because I'm like, "Why am I rooting for these criminals?" Like,
Right,
like maybe the officer should catch them. Wait,
right,
I'm
right.
confused here now.
But then reminded again, Gotham City Police
Yeah.
are not necessarily the good guys.
Nope, and Vic very suave. I give it to him. I gotta hand it to him. He
What
thought
money?
very quickly. It's like opposite of Rebel Ridge for those
Right,
who
right,
have not seen. Like,
right.
literally the exact opposite. Like,
Oh my
like,
god, it's so
yeah,
true.
so true. Like, so funny. Good, like,
But I did like that. I
lines.
did like again a reminder of the corrupt nature of Gotham PD,
Mhm.
and through this cop, and just like, oh, what money? Oh, I guess you can take it. Yeah. Um, let's go to Oz and Sophia. We learn about their relationship in this episode. We learn that two things I like about this episode. one, we learn that they have a past together, and he used to be her driver, and I like that. There's many moments in this episode where she reminds him who's in charge.
Yeah, so mean. I love it though.
So mean. Just like these moments where he's thinking we're partners, yeah, we're in this together,
Yeah,
and she's like, no, you
like,
can drive me,
yeah.
not Vic.
Like,
Right?
and she's
Or,
like, they're
or,
coming
or
to meet,
yeah,
me, not my
not
former
you.
driver. Like, whoa,
Oof.
whoa, 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 lady.
Ooh.
Oh, baby. And my wife touched on a point, shout out you, wifey, which is that, Oz will take it from nobody, currently, except for like his mom and Sophia. I get just for
Mhm.
now. I don't think it's forever, right? But
Oh
like
yeah, no.
some of the things she says, I I don't hear many other people or anyone else getting away with that, right? He's just like,
Mhm.
okay, okay. But I know he's noting it down. He's like,
Oh, of course. He's like, oh, okay, okay. You want? I mean, later on, he's just
time number
like,
374.
he's like, leave her. We're going.
Yes, the look
Again,
in Vic's eyes, he was
like
like,
what?
he didn't even pretend like, oh, it's too late. He was like,
No,
who?
no, leave her. All right, we're going. We're out.
Like,
And
yeah,
again, this is not long after he kind of admits that yes, I had something to do with ratting you out, and I'm really sorry. I don't regret doing it
nope,
because it
I don't
gave
agree.
me a better life of power, but
I
I'm
love
really
that
sorry that
scene.
you went to Gotham. And then 2 minutes later, leave her
To
out.
Arkham. Yeah, no, he was like, his only issue was that I'm so sorry, I didn't expect it would be Arkham. Like, oh, okay.
Right,
I, I, what were you expecting? Is this something better?
right. And I'm curious, and again, probably this can probably go into our theory and that you want to talk about her not being Hangman in terms of how the media's publicized her. What happened? What did he do? Because we're not told specifically what happened. We're just told that something happened. We're told that they're
Yeah,
close to be a driver, and then he ratted out or did something.
yeah,
I don't know if she was doing something and he ratted her out, or he put a blame on something on her.
yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know. I'm super intrigued, because I feel like this is the second. There's just always a case of ratting or being
Hmm.
ratted on that's surrounding Penguin, and Penguin will snitch. He will
Oh,
snitch for cash. I mean, that's part of his game, right? So I don't know. I can't wait to find out what it is, but I almost appreciate the way he handled it, right? Because he really was like, I regret, man. What?
what? I'll do it again.
Look at me now. Oh, look at me now. Oh, I regret, right? And then just touch on like the social disparity you mentioned. He's almost like, it's funny to see them both next to each other because they're from completely different worlds. Right? He's
Hmm.
trying to say to her that, like, from where I'm coming from, like, this is like being Zeus. Like,
Hmm.
to you, it might just be a random
Tacky.
looking apartment, a tacky apartment, right? But
Hmm.
like this is what I call life.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I'm curious as to what the full details were just surrounding Sophia, because I feel like they're trying to. There's a lot of smoke screens that are
Hmm.
being set around her, just in her whole interaction with the family, with the hangman thing. The reason why she went went to Arkham, just her time in Arkham, even the fact that that's where Bliss comes from. So that I don't forget to mention that. So I don't know. I'm actually quite intrigued to see the specifics of what it is with Oz, right? I almost feel like there's gonna be like a domino effect of snitching.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
it won't just be, it's not gonna be one little lie. It's gonna be like, no, like Oz might have been planning some parts of this for quite a while.
Hmm.
This is just my feeling, right? It is his show.
Yep. Um, One scene I really liked was Oz going back to the scene with Oz and Vic having dinner. Right. I love again. These are moments where you're thinking, does Oz care? He cares, right? He cares, right? When the waiter didn't have
Where
patience to let Vic finish talking because of his stutter, and he just berates the waiter like, "Don't do that," and standing up for him like, have your chest out, be seen, be heard, don't let anyone walk all over you. You're thinking that's a great mentor to him, things like that,
to his giving a speech later.
right?
And a big stutter. He's like, "Come on, man!" It's like he completely flipped.
Right.
He's so terrible.
Also, I love the line when Sophia's talking to the triad boss when the boss is just like, and not for anything. I popped champagne when your father died. And she's just like, I danced on his grave when I had the first opportunity.
And he's like, he was like, okay, point one, all right.
Oh,
It's like,
okay then.
I get tried. Yeah, he's like, I
Right.
mean, I mean, I didn't like your dad, but I knew him. You, I mean, rumor has it that you're.
And I think that possibly in terms of the hangman, I think what it is, maybe she didn't do all those things, but I think now she'll become the hangman. She'll
I
become what
agree.
they think she
She's
is.
killing Biddy, 100%.
Vidi is
He's
dead.
gone. Yeah, no, he's
like,
but
like
like
she's going to
but like
murder
dead
him.
to her. I don't know if he'd have been dead if not for the line of you better go to Italy or someone to tell them you went to Italy.
Oof.
Like,
Ooh.
and so
Ooh.
she's such a great actress. She played it so well. Like
So
her
good.
eyes, everything. I couldn't. Other than me knowing as a TV show viewer, I didn't believe in that moment that she actually was going to come back and kill this guy behind his back because that's gonna
Oh
happen.
no, no. In a moment like that was clearly a threat from him.
She was
But
like,
she did not look threatened.
thank you. That's the phrase. She was like,
You know,
okay.
she looked like keep speaking, motherfucker. Keep talking.
like, I'm like,
No, just keep talking. Keep
I'm like,
talking.
yeah, he
You
doesn't know
know,
how to read the room.
the, but then on the flip side of that, Oz doesn't have have her patience because as soon as the guy's
Patience.
like, "You're a penguin," no one cares. Oz flips, because he doesn't like just like.
Shove
I was like,
the
"Oh shit!"
phone in. Actually, I was almost scared he would kill him, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
I thought so too.
I guess he has some restraint. He still knows the grand plan. But yeah,
Right?
that was fun. I think because Vidi is the only one that's called him Penguin in this show so far, if
Yep,
I'm not
constantly.
mistaken, right?
Yep.
And other than that, it was the Batman in the movie. So
Hmm.
I feel like yeah, it's gonna be interesting how he goes down because both Sophia and Oz hate him.
Yeah, like who's
Um,
going to kill him?
yeah, but now he's like in league with them by force association of blackmail.
But then on the top of that, he's sleeping with Luca's wife, so maybe
Yeah,
Luca kills him.
right.
There's that as well.
It's so interesting. And again, like what point are we discussing? Because I'm jumping,
Hey,
but
jump away,
jump,
jump
man.
away.
Because yeah, but like, what is Sophia going to do next episode? Like when the Maroni wifey showed up,
We've been
and
watching you.
she like watching you, and Sophia's face in that, like those 2 seconds, being like, "You mother."
Like, well, she's always been suspecting that there's something else.
Yeah,
She's always on him, and this is just like,
it's
even if she doesn't know,
exactly
she's like, why is my nemesis family coming to talk
watching
to
you
you?
all of a
You
sudden.
like,
Like,
well, I
what?
think that's probably why he was just like, leave, let's
Yeah,
go,
yeah.
because he's not. I
He,
can't talk
he,
my way out of this one.
no, I think he's burned. I think it's
Yeah.
not like a full on like you know the families against each other, internal fighting, external fighting, and Penguin is just the way he fails forward is I think one of the most impressive things about this show, right? Like it's not a graceful like cross the finish line. Like he's
Mm-mm.
literally like barely getting there, surviving by the skin of his teeth. Without Vic, it was all a wrap, right?
Mhm.
And that's why I said I know Vic is gonna regret it. Oh my gosh, like he just went from being on his way to sunny California
Could
with
have
with
left.
with, with his lovely lady, and now
Oz allowed
he's
him to leave too. He wouldn't have been chased.
literally, and now he's next to a less good looking individual to keep it bluntly in a less good looking situation, right? Like,
Right, right.
well,
Again, I think this is what we talked about episode 1, that this didn't feel like the journey necessarily of the Penguin's villain arc, but it felt like Vic's villain arc. There's almost, you can almost look at and I think some of Batman's best villains are characters that have some sort of parallel narrative to Batman,
yeah,
right?
but they
Whereas in
took
the
the wrong
comics,
turn.
exactly, in the comics, Penguin is similar because they both come from rich families.
Yeah,
But I think here, what you're using someone like Vic, where Bruce becomes Batman
or orphan
because of,
also.
yeah, orphaned, and because of trauma and tragedy.
Yeah,
And this is Vic becoming a villain because of trauma and tragedy.
yeah.
So it's almost that kind of mirroring the other side of what Batman could have become. And he kind of showcases that, well, as much as Bruce lost everything, he still had the benefit of never thinking about money.
Great
You know,
benefits.
right? And it's
Yeah,
actually something that Selena Catwoman says to him in the movie when she's
yeah.
just like, "That sounds like someone who grew up rich," something along those lines. And so your choices are very limited when you lose everything and you don't
Hmm.
have the money as a cushion. Like Bruce can be like, I'm going to train for the next 20 years so I can do this
Yes.
and
Or
spend all the money.
I'm going to escape. I want to go underground for 3 years. I want to
Right.
fight with the prisoners. Like,
Right.
okay,
I
sir,
don't,
you have a
I have all
mansion
the money.
waiting for you.
Right. You can travel the world and get
Mhm.
taught by different
That's
masters and
so funny.
different things. Like that's costs money. Vic can't do that.
Like you are the 1% of the 1% of the one
Right.
of the one
Vic's
percent.
happy to get $1,000. What?
Yeah, like he couldn't believe it, and I love
Oh,
the scene. And then Penguin's like, "Yeah, man, you can ask for anything." He's like, 2,000. Penguin's like, I like this kid,
But again,
but
those are moments again where you're seeing the real Victor come in. Up to
yeah,
this episode, we've only seen the Victor acting as, let me do what he wants me, let me do what Oz wants me to do so that
yeah,
I can survive.
like out
Right?
of
He's
fear.
only thinking, he's only thinking in the moment so he can survive till the next moment. There's
Hmm.
no
Forward
forward
thinking or
thinking, like
next
things like
week.
that. Right. Whereas sitting in the car looking at the bus station, that's his moment of, okay, let me think about my future, and then make that decision of that future and which path I'm going to take. And he makes a
Yeah,
decision. And I liked how the decision was made. It wasn't this over melodramatic thing where
yeah,
she's like, "Where are you? I can't
yeah,
believe it."
yeah.
Yeah,
I like it. Even her, she like kept messaging, but she wasn't like, like she understood, but she was disappointed, right? It
yeah,
wasn't
yes,
like
yes,
annoying or anything like that. I
yes.
fully agree.
I did appreciate that. Any other moments that you like that we haven't spoken about?
A random few. When Oz and Sophia were in the lab and she was showing him the super cool looking mushrooms, and the scientist was like Basidio and Penguin was like, what the did you say to me?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just like-
What you call
I
me?
was like, huh? Oh my gosh, some of
I
the
like that.
banter. I hope by the end of this, I hope Colin Farrell wins awards because
Oh, he has to.
the portrayal is just so excellent. Even his eyebrows every time he's like you
Right.
said, he teeters between this like hurt look and like I'm hurting you look,
Yes,
right?
yes, and I don't know which one it is as the person being it affecting. And I even like again between Sophia and Oz, when she tells him like he's talking to, I'm going to be the one talking to this
Yeah,
triad lot boss. Straight
yeah,
away, Oz is like, "This is what we're doing," but we're talking as if like he knows what's happening. Sophia's
yeah.
looking at him like, "This
Like,
motherfucker." But I did like how she pivots to his lies,
hmm,
right? And they had and that shows you that they have a history because they're able to
yeah,
go back and forth, back and forth. He's like, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, Vidi's in on this. Yeah, call him. What? Call him. It doesn't matter.
yeah, yeah,
Things like that. She kind of plays along with it,
yeah.
and that only works when two people have done something like this
Some
before.
rapport, yeah.
Have this kind of rapport. So I thought that was really well done. I like that.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I really like their interaction because thematically it was like this episode was Oz and Sophia drawing closer and Oz and Victor drawing further away, almost in my mind,
mhm,
up until
mhm,
the end, and then by the end
mhm.
it's just like
Flip.
it's like nobody gets close to this Oz guy. Like there's almost a reason why his rep is what it is, and it's not because of his looks, right?
No,
I think that's what I
no.
find interesting about the Penguin. You almost see him, and it's almost like the pity because I feel bad for like looking quote unquote down on you. But then
Mhm.
he reminds you that like no, you
You're
should
just a dick.
yeah, you're actually a terrible
You're
person.
just a dick. Like,
Like oh my goodness.
um,
Um,
one of my favorite visual moments of this show or so far is when they're at the club and Vic starts to have his PTSD moment and how it merges the visuals with the club
the
look
club,
versus
yeah.
the
Did he
the
take some of
flood.
that bliss first of all?
No, I don't think it did. I just think it was just
Yeah,
again,
I just had to be sure because I was like, it was so well done. I was like, wait, am I on
right?
bliss?
Am I on bliss?
Like, what
No,
does
I
that
think I
mean?
think what it is again. I think it's just think when you look at narratives of PTSD, I think
It's
sometimes you
funny.
just don't know when it's going to hit you,
Yeah,
especially when you realize the timeline. This is only 2 weeks ago.
yeah,
His whole family
it's
died,
pretty
everything.
funny.
So he's in the club, he's hearing loud noises and bangs and
Yeah,
flashing and stuff like that. Things trigger PTSD
yeah,
attacks like that. And that's what he's going through. And I think it was visualized so well because like in
it
the club,
was.
you see like the glass with the silhouettes of people, but then it
Yeah,
flashes to like
plus
people flooding
people.
in.
Yeah,
Oh, so well done. And I
yeah,
thought, and again, I think like you talked about earlier, I think it does a fantastic job of just showing us the power of water. Because when you see a flood, you're like, oh, it's just a flood. Learn to swim.
yeah,
It's fine. But then it's just like, no, just the
Mhm.
force just
Yeah.
crashing through things. It's
Like
like, Oof,
Ugh.
if that hits you, your body, that's it. You're dead.
You're done already.
You
The
could be the
pressure
best
one.
swimmer in the world.
Yeah.
Just the impact takes you out.
Like, hit you against the wall, break your
Right.
bones, and then drown
Instantly.
you. Drown you just to
Internal,
be sure.
right? Internal organs just savaged,
Like,
just
what
from
a
the
tune,
impact, things like that. I was like, ooh. I loved little moments. I loved when I was just talking about the what's it? I've read it down here. Where is it? Oh, he goes, all these fucks are related. 60 years ago, two Sicilian
man.
brothers
Just
jizzed on a shoe.
jizz all over the toe of that boot.
I
I
was
wrote
like,
that. That's the first thing I wrote down. Actually, man, it was his face too. Just like what?
what the
What a visual.
or
Okay.
when Vic is leaning on the window and he says, "Get your greasy forehead off my window."
Greasy forehead. It's like this is not a nice guy.
Right. Also, I love seeing Oz in just these casual wear. I know what it is. I think they
He
just do a
has
good
some
job. Just
looks. Also has some
right.
looks. I gotta say,
The Oz
even
fit.
the fit is crazy. Even the white suit,
Right.
a little
Yeah, the
comic
white
accurate.
suit was
Like,
great.
okay, Oz.
It gives us more of a taste of like the more flamboyant, uh, uh,
Mm,
uh, dressed,
it's-
attention grabbing penguin that
Yeah,
we know as the
yeah.
villain later, right? I can almost see him grabbing the walking stick and
That's good.
or the umbrella.
It's gonna be the last episode for sure. It has to be.
The umbrella. Anything else they haven't spoken about?
I love when again Sophia is just so smart, or she seems both smart and paranoid, right? But when she was with Oz and she said like I can't tell who wants this more, me or
Mm.
you,
Mhm.
and then he's like I want this for you, love, and she's like you say all the right things, don't you, Oz?
Right?
Right? It's
She
just like
knows. Like she's
it's like sir,
like
mm-mm.
nothing gets past her. She sees,
She,
even watching him talk to the triad boss. She's just looking at him
mm-hmm.
like, you can
She's
lie
like,
this
oh,
easily,
so that's how you lie, huh? Okay.
so easily. You can lie.
Jots
So,
things down.
like, I know you're lying right now, but I believe you.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Okay,
just
okay.
looking at him, I was like, oh, okay. That's like, I even thought like, and I don't know if this would be a narrative because I think now she's just like, I know him. I thought
Yeah.
earlier when she says to Vic and Vic's like, yeah, I'm a mechanic. I thought she's like, oh, mechanic, huh? I thought I was going to come back, but I don't think so.
It's still my. I feel like you said she's the one where everything she's heard she's gonna remember. All
Mhm.
said his mother is dead last episode. That's gonna come back to bite him, right? Even and but where I hear you, sometimes I don't know if I'm reading like sometimes I'm looking for too many signs.
Mhm,
Because for
mhm, mhm, mhm.
example, Vic told Oz that the cop took the entire $1,000 from him,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Which was a lie,
yeah.
obviously,
Because he
because
gave, yeah.
he gave some to Graciela, and I was like, is there any way that can come back to bite him? I was like, like maybe if Oz talks to the officer, anyways, probably not. So sometimes I don't know, but it's just there are so many, and I think this is the thing about lies, right? The whole
Mhm.
point is that it might not be any one particular thing, but one day there's just going to be some slip up. He might say,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I can't believe the cop took $500 from me." Like 500.
It's like,
What do you mean? I thought you gave him a
right,
thousand. Hmm?
right, right,
Like, no,
right.
I gave that to Gracia.
Oh,
Gracia what?
Chris, what?
But yeah, I don't know. So many things to call. Penguin is definitely killing Vic. Sophia is
Right.
killing Biddy. Those are the two things I understand, or vice versa. I don't know how bold this show is trying to go. Right?
Mhm, mhm,
Like,
mhm.
do we see Vic killing Penguin? I mean, no, but it's also a fun thing to. I'm trying to guess without thinking of the wider world.
Mhm, mhm.
Sometimes, like,
Yeah, because you can't,
what could happen?
and it doesn't necessarily mean they're following the template of Batman as a whole.
Yeah, yeah.
This is his own story.
He's already not a wealthy background,
Yeah,
Oswald. So there are differences already, unless they
he's not
retcon
Cobblepot.
that. He's not as we know him, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued as to
Shit.
what could happen.
For all we know, this is just me going out there full left field.
Hmm.
The series could end with Vic killing Oz and then taking on the
And then
mantle
the
of Iron the
penguin,
Penguin.
yeah,
As a name.
which would be funny, right? Like, I mean,
Right?
is that gonna happen? Probably not.
No.
But I would watch that and I would be like, oh my god.
I didn't see that coming.
But
One moment I really liked, this continuous moment, and again, this is where you look at symbolism of like people who are in this world and used to it versus Vic who's slowly coming into this world.
yeah.
Something simple as not being able to light the lighter, it's broken, yet both Sophia and Oz are able to light it with no problem.
Yeah.
So I just see that like symbolically. That's just like we know this life. You are just a poser for
Yeah,
now. Yeah,
yeah. It's
I
just
like
like
that.
Teen and Agatha. Just sometimes some people just stick out where it's like you're not really meant to be here. But
No.
again, like you said, I think this episode is going to serve as the cornerstone for Vic's trajectory in whatever direction he's trying to go. Right?
Hmm.
We've
Hmm.
seen elements of who he is and his past and his makeup and yeah, just I'm curious as to what they do with that because like next episode is halfway, right? We're not even
Hmm.
halfway yet,
Yes, yes, yes,
and
yes.
we've
Next is
already kind
halfway.
of gone through all this, and now we basically have what Maroni versus Falcons
Hmm.
versus Penguin. Versus the world versus Gotham versus
Right.
versus where is Batman? By the way,
So true.
I assume he's dealing with other things, but yeah, I can't wait to hear what he was going on or getting
Hmm.
up to during this time.
Hmm. Hmm. Anything else? I think that's it this episode. I'm curious to see where it goes for more. Like you said, this is not even halfway yet. It
Hmm.
feels like, it feels like things are just
It's
hitting
like an
the
episode
gas got
six
hit,
type of thing,
right?
yeah.
Exactly, because now Oz is like, we're in it now. We're
Yeah,
in it
we're in it
now.
now, Vic. We're in it now. Vic is just like.
Oh God.
I feel like that's so I did have a point. Sorry, I felt like God gave him a chance, right?
Yes.
When the officers came, that was like that moment of like, oh shit, like, I'm doing the wrong thing. Look at what
Hmm.
just almost happened. I almost got busted right here with drugs in the car. Like I have this chance, leave it, Graciela. Let me pick up my bed and walk. And he said, "Nope, I'm about that life." Which, hey, that's his choice. But I feel like I almost feel like there was the police scene was even a deeper. It wasn't just like random. It was almost
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
the story was letting us know that like
It's like a
no,
warning for
no,
him.
yeah, like don't do this. But he's headstrong in his determination to go down this life, and I just don't see it ending well for him. I like this.
Well, I think that's what I like about this show, because it's not telling us a narrative where you're like, I feel so bad for this kid. I understand why he becomes a villain. Same thing with Oz. You're
Yeah,
not like, I really understand. If I was in the same situation, maybe I'll too become a villain. It's not that narrative,
I don't feel
right?
that. Yeah,
He is given a way out,
yeah,
and he makes a choice.
yeah.
Even Oz tells him, is like, if you want to go, go.
Like
It's
bye.
at this point moving forward, everything is a choice. It's not because life made. Granted, of course, he lost a lot of things. He lost his
Yeah.
family, lost his home, and he
So
feels
so
like he's
did
lost everything.
Graciela.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
and I got my wife showed me a tweet where somebody was like, Graciela wins the award for all DC comics and in the entire DC universe for being the first person to want to move out of Gotham. Like
I'm
you,
out.
you do not have to be chained to this evil city, y'all.
I
Move.
am out. You
Move.
want to come with
So
me? Come with me.
yeah, so I truly hope she made it. Just shout out. I
Mhm.
hope she's living a happy life in sunny California.
Right, right. Always weirds me out when you hear like of real cities and place in the DC universe. It's like Gotham, Metropolis, California. Like what? What?
Like three made up places.
Right, right. And the thing is, they already have. I believe that it's supposed to be a representation of California. They have a place called Coast City in
Yeah,
DC. And
yeah,
it's just like, so they run next to each other. Okay, and it's like Gotham is kind of New York, but they also have New York. So
yeah.
okay, it's
Just
like
like okay, all right.
okay,
Like
whatever.
strange.
We'll let it pass. Whatever. There's one more thing I was going to bring up, and I forgot to bring it up. Oh yes, even moments you talk about Vic and like the moral choices. He even acknowledges that my dad wouldn't be proud of me. He wouldn't be happy with it. So
Hmm.
it's not like you're just like living this world of like ignorance and just like, well, you never know. Yeah, you know that your dad wouldn't be happy with the life. And I like the parallels where you have Vic's father who's kind of pushing him against that life, and then you have Oz's brother
Oz's
who's like, "Shh,
mother. It's
take
like,
it, it's yours.
do not disappoint me, boy.
Take what's yours." And so that difference in upbringing between the two of them, but yet they're both going down the same path, which I find very interesting, and I enjoy this. I'm really enjoying this show, and I'm curious, and I like, again, we spoke about this before, that we like the idea that, and it's almost similar to Agatha, but in a different way, where I don't know what's going to happen next.
I really don't.
Yeah, and
It's
I'm
like,
excited, and I like that.
yeah.
I like that.
I think what I do know is nothing good is gonna happen. Like at the
And Oz
very
is gonna
least,
somebody over. We haven't seen the end of that,
like
right?
100%, like 100%.
Like, who's next?
And you know what? He might even fuck over both Sophia and Victor. Like
Yeah, yep,
you can use anyone to get out of any situation, but
yep.
in so many different ways, right? I just, yeah, I can't wait to see.
He's very much Kaiser
See.
Soze.
Mm-hmm.
Reference for those who know. I won't say it, but if you know, you know.
The usual suspects.
Oh, damn it, Andrew! You're not supposed to help him out. I'll
Cut
take you
it
out
out.
back. I'll take you out back and kill you.
Oh, good man.
Anyway, on that note, if you listeners like this show or you don't like this show, but you've somehow listened to this whole podcast but you don't like this show, find us on social media at The Nerdy Bunch and
If
let us
so,
know why you're
comment
putting so.
comment bliss if you made it to the end of the video.
All right. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and star whatever you have to do on your podcast services. It helps people get wind of our podcast and gets more eyes on it, which helps us a lot. If you have any comments that you want to tell us about how you feel about different podcasts and different shows you watch, find us on email, the Nerdy Bunch Podcast at gmail.com. We're reviewing as many movies and TV shows as we can. We're also currently doing Agatha All Along. Episode 4 should be out right now as you're listening to this. So check that out. And a couple of movies. You did, Andrew mentioned Rebel Ridge. We did that a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
Check out our review for that as well. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, David.
My name's English Dave, and this has been a Nerdy Bunch review for The Penguin episode 3. And as always, Andrew,
keep it nerdy.
Peace. Was that your like
terrible
Italian mod?
Boston? Yeah. I'm working on the accent.
Okay, well, maybe by the end of the season it'll be better.